That's another one that could be solved, I think, on the Workday side, because if they already know where all of the instance relationships to a given calc field are, and they could easily determine if that's used in an integration. And if you went to edit something that was used in an integration, you could get a warning that says, hey, this is used in an integration. Or you could view the entire instance relationship hierarchy of, for some kind of a impact analysis. What if I change this, what all will it impact? All of that's there. It's just very difficult to figure it out right now because of the way the information's exposed.
So Floyd, are you saying Workday knows all the reports that the web service enabled and whether any studio code actually references it could be dynamic, but yeah, is that what you're
Well,
saying?
they know that not only for reports, but they also know if you use the calc field as like a field override in a Cloud Connect integration or any of that type of stuff. It knows where it's used. It has to have that referential integrity behind the scenes. It's just not easy to get to.
But a question for you guys then, since you're using it, I mean, we're talking out like how we can touch upon where it's used. Are you using categories? Because we didn't use it, and hindsight, I would have loved if we had used the categories already when it started off. For example, to tag things with benefits or integration, because that would have been a super quick way to see, okay, where is it used or who has ownership of it if we would have used the categories. But I mean, you have tons or you have thousands or 10,000s of calc fields, and if you don't start with it, it's kind of, it's a lot of way to get afterwards, but I think it would have been super good to be able to say, okay, this is a benefit calc field, good, then I know it's Meredith that has, main responsibility for it, or I know that it's used in other areas, or, yeah, I think that would have been super good to utilize more, actually.
We have one required category for all calc fields. Every calc field must say customer defined and not uncategorized. And we have audits that try to catch that. Outside of that, we try to use the categories that most closely represent where that field is used. And it could be multiples, but that depends on the person creating it to categorize it properly. But it is very helpful to do that.
Meredith, does your team make edits and put in calc fields without any review? Floyd mentioned an audit. I think, Floyd, you mean you run some sort of report? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Meredith.
We have a change management process that's pretty involved, so nothing can go in or be changed without it going through that change management process where all the other functional areas review the change to make sure they don't have impacts. So we don't necessarily, I mean, I'm sure more could be done, especially with cleaning up, Matilda talking about cleaning up unused calc fields. Oh, that kind of made me nervous. I'm sure that we've got a ton that we haven't prioritized that as a goal, but, we're choosing our battles.
So, Meredith, that might be along the lines of having reports that aren't run anymore, right? Like, at what point do you spend the time to clean up? So Floyd, since you mentioned audits, is it run every night or every week? How do you catch if somebody put in a calc field and they didn't follow the rules?
We have a group of people who are in a user-based group that doesn't necessarily have any security assigned to it. And then we have various types of exception audit reports that are run nightly, and they share the output with that group, but only output a report if there's any exceptions found for that. So one of those exceptions is any calculated fields that are marked as unclassified or uncategorized or don't have a description. And so anything that doesn't have a description or isn't categorized as customer defined will kick out on that audit, and everybody in the group gets that. There are some other audits that you can do to find impact. If you look at the delivered report that's called retired report fields in use. That's helpful for that, but if you look at how that report's constructed, it also uses a related business object to the field called that shows where it's used. So it's like a where used. So you can create a custom report off of that if you wanted, or a custom report that mimics that one, that shows you where all your calc fields are used, and you can do it like an aggregate related instances and find all of the classes that those calc fields are used in, and then say, find me all those calc fields that are used in an integration, for example. So that's helpful as well.